Manchester United kick off their European adventure in the Europa League this year with a disappointing 1-1 draw at home to FC Twente. Join me now for Manchester United, the D Unit's view. Well, I tell you what, mate, I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning, and these are the games. Last week, brilliant stuff. Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch Barnsley and the 7-0 thumping of them. That's what I was talking about. Those are the games I enjoy getting up for as a United fan living in Australia. The games like this morning are the games I do not enjoy getting up to watch as a Manchester United fan. Especially when I see like almost a carbon repeat of the weekend happen. Because it ended up in another draw. It obviously ended up a very different draw. But again, there were so many similar failings that we saw on Saturday at Crystal Palace again in this game. And I sound like I'm just harping on about the same point over and over and over. But my God, if we keep on missing chances, we are going to get what we got today. And that is another draw. If we do the same on Sunday against Tottenham Hotspur, we are 100% going to lose the game. They will be more clinical than FC Twente were, than what Crystal Palace were. And if United can't sit there and start finding the back of the net, we're in big trouble. Especially against the next two opponents in the Premier League, starting with Tottenham on Sunday. Look, I suppose that's the bit where I want to start on again today. So I'm going to share like my screen for anyone that is watching along on YouTube. You actually are going to get some stats and not just video of me talking. But if you are following along on audio, please, rate the show and give us a follow. And if you are listening on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new and you're listening to me for the first time, please hit the subscribe button. It will definitely help. And it helps keep me motivated as well. So look, the stats of this game were really interesting as well. So I'm just going to quickly change to what I'm sharing so everyone can see. So this was the starting lineup that we went with tonight. So Andre Onana was in goal, Mazraoui, Maguire came in for De Ligt, Martinez, Dalot, which was all pretty, I think the back line all made a bit of sense. Then in the midfield, Ugarte came in for Mainu and Rashford came in for Garnacho, and the rest was as it was against Crystal Palace. Now, look, let's just talk about Marcus Rashford. Look, he was actually, I can't fault him. He looked really good. One-on-one tonight, he looked on it. He looked at it. It just, the problem is there's no end product in this team. Like the amount of opportunities to go begging, it's just so frustrating to watch because a lot of the build-up play, a lot of the passing, a lot of the intuitive movements, the link-up play in between Rashford and Xerxes in particular looked amazing. There was a couple of like one-touch, two-touch passes and runs going on that just looked absolutely fabulous. The only problem was it didn't end in a goal. And I said it after the Crystal Palace game on the weekend, and I said it after the transfer window closed. The lack of a centre forward, like a rude Van Nistelrooy, it's so frustrating that he's on the bench. Like, that's the kind of player we need in this team. A bloke that is going to get those sort of half chances and score. That's what's missing. And like, these aren't even, a lot of these ones aren't even half chances. They're just poorly finished shots, or just not hit with enough conviction, not hit with enough placement or accuracy, and they're not going in. And again, we saw more of the same today, which was disappointing. So look, I didn't mind the starting lineup. I just don't know why. Like, De Ligt surely can play back-to-back games. He's 25. Like, surely he can be playing like Mazraoui can, and he was 26. He's a year older. Look, we'll get to the goal that we conceded in a little bit, but there's a reason why I'm like, why is Maguire starting this game? Like, look, I think the new format in this Europa League or whatever you want to call it is stupid. Now, I'm just going to share with you how it is. So this is the Man United website here. So it is a new look Europa League. Now, tonight was the start of the rebooted format, of which 36 teams play 8 fixtures each, and they're in a league table of 36 teams. Like, it's just stupid. Like the idea is that it's meant to make the ladder games, which quite often could be dead rubbers, like game weeks 5 and 6 or whatever it was in the old thing. I don't know, there's still 4 teams in the thing, yes. So you paid, every team, it was 6 game weeks. Now that you get an extra 2 games, and it goes into January as well, which is another thing in itself, just adding more games. I think it's just more fodder. In the Europa League, like, United are currently the equal favourites of Tottenham, but I'm telling you, if we don't start scoring goals, he might as well just rule us out, because there's no way we're making the final. But yeah, look, that just needs to be addressed now. FC20, they were loving it. The funny thing is that at the end of the game, they were sitting there and just loving life. Like, they actually went up in front of their own away fans and were like doing, the hurrahs and the hands up and hands down and celebrating like they bloody won the game. Because that's just a disappointing thing. The other thing is, I had a bet on this game, and Man United were $1.12, $1.18 to win, and they didn't come in. So, like, it was a 5-leg multi, and the other 4 teams all won, and guess which one let me down? Man United at home. I tell you what, not betting on them again this season. Not until we start absolutely hammering goals in. But under Ten Hag, that just hasn't been a thing. Now, look, the stats tell one story. Now, the possession, interestingly enough, says we finished with 57% possession. But in the first half, we were definitely the dominant team in terms of possession. The second half, though, up until when FC20 decided that they were happy to keep a draw, they actually were edging the possession count in the second half. I think which actually tipped them overall for the game to up to 51% possession. And then they made these changes, and then they were just happy to defend. And they got pretty lucky in the end. But in the end, that's how we ended up 57%. So it was a bit of a weird game. I wouldn't read too much into the possession type of things. The shots one, though, is where it gets interesting. So there was 19 shots by United and only 7 for FC20. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So the next key stat is the shots on target. So FC20, of their 7 shots, 3 of them were on target, and obviously 1 was a goal. And for Man United, we had 19 shots and only 5 were on target. So you can see there that we've had an extra 12 shots, but only an extra 2 on target. So again, what kind of shots are we having? Like, it was frustrating. Eriksen's goal was brilliant, by the way. Great finish. He's in good form. I don't know how he started 4 games in the last 2 weeks. And I don't know if he's capable of starting a 5th one in a row against Tottenham. But judging from the fact he started 4 and 4, you'd think that he's probably a lock to start against Tottenham as well. And look, he's creative. Unfortunately for Eriksen, he scored a great goal, but he was also very culpable for the goal that we conceded. And we'll get to that in just a little bit. But I just want to talk a bit more about these chances. Now, ironically, for most of the game, the most danger that actually came to the FC20 goal, which required the goalkeeper to make 2 extraordinary saves, were actually saves from his own players. Like, their own goal was actually more of a chance of scoring than a Man United player outside of Eriksen's goal. And I think that says all you need to know about how toothless our attack is. Now, it's kind of funny, because I read somewhere I think it was on ESPN, and they put an article out about, like, teams are getting more and more plucky at coming to Old Trafford because they realise that, they can attack because United just don't score. And I actually had to think about it, and I was like going, there's probably some merit into that line of thinking. I mean, Manchester United have not been scoring goals for a long time. Like, and this can be traced back. So I was thinking about, like, the last time we had a proper centre forward, like, that wasn't bought, that was over the age of 30. So under Sir Alex Ferguson, the one thing you could always guarantee is that we would have a great striker. So we bought Eric Cantona. Then after Eric Cantona, we had Teddy Sheringham, Andy Cole, Dwight York, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. All players, all capable of scoring goals. When he wasn't happy with them, in came Ruud van Nistelrooy, the goal-scoring machine of goal-scoring machines. Then after him, we brought in Wayne Rooney, guaranteed goals. Carlos Tevez, not so much. And then Cristiano Ronaldo. He was a goal-scoring machine as well. Then we had Dimitar Berbatov. He was obviously good for 20-odd goals a game. 20-odd goals a season. Sorry, not 20-odd goals a game. And then post him, we had Robin van Persie in Sir Alex Ferguson's last last season in charge. And he guaranteed 20-odd goals as well a season. Since then, have we actually... I know we've had people that have scored 20-odd goals, but have we actually signed someone that is proven that is going to score 20-plus goals in a season? No, we haven't. We've signed an aging Edison Cavani. We've signed an aging Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We've signed an aging Cristiano Ronaldo. All these players have one thing in common. They're all past their prime. They're all pretty much pensioner age. They can't be guaranteeing you 20-plus goals a season. We then spend, wait for it, instead of spending up 88 million or whatever it was that Tottenham were going to charge us for Harry Kane, who would, I say, 100% have guaranteed us at least 20 goals in the league last season. Who knows where that puts us? And probably the same again this year. I mean, the form he started off at Bayern Munich again. I know he was crap for England in the summer, but his form for Bayern Munich has been insane. Like, he's setting goal records galore, like with the chances that getting created for him. Whether he gets the chances created in the United team, who knows? But we'll get to that in a second. But, like, what are we doing? Like, we keep on... We invested 72 million in a Rasmus Højlund, and he could turn out to be a fantastic signing. But at the moment, he is not delivering goals. He's not a source of 100% guaranteed goals. In fact, I think last season he scored 16 across all competitions. And considering he was out injured for a little bit and he took 16 games to score in the Premier League, that wasn't the worst return in the world. And then what do we do this summer? When we desperately need to actually buy a proven goal scorer, we buy Joshua Zirkzee. Now, Joshua Zirkzee's link-up play looks absolutely incredible. And like all the United fans out there are going to be like, you're banging on, you don't know whatever I actually don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I try to think so anyway. His passing, link-up play, his pressing is fantastic. What he is not good at is putting the ball in the back of the net. Now, does that make you the person to start for Manchester United up front leading the line if you can't put the ball in the back of the net? Well, I'd say the answer is no. And that's the problem. Like, we've got two strikers that we've invested over 100 million in, that neither of them are guaranteed to actually do what you want from a forward, and that is score goals. To stand me if corrected, let me know in the comments if I'm just completely wrong, and if they're going to come good. They might come good. They're still very young, but Manchester United used to pride themselves on having the best striker in the league, and it's 100%. We do not have probably even close to the fifth, maybe sixth best strikers in the league. And that's just, frankly, if you want to get into the top four, let alone be challenging for the league, you need someone that is elite at putting the ball into the net. And United just don't have that. And look, Ten Hag, you can make all the criticisms and whatever in terms of how he plays and like what they're giving up, et cetera, et cetera. But if you haven't got someone that's clinical up top, I don't actually know what you do. Like, he's got Ruben Nistelrooy in there, who I'm sure is 100% trying to instill as much confidence, as much finishing technique into these players, but maybe they're just not good enough. Like, maybe that is, and I said this summer, after the transfer window closed, that the biggest shortcoming was the fact we did not go for a striker that is a guaranteed source of goals. And this game, again, proved exactly that. If you're creating 19 chances and you're having 5 shots on target and you're getting 1 goal, that's quite frankly not good enough. United have already missed more chances, more big chances than any other team in the Premier League this season. And I actually don't know how you fix that problem, other than the fact that you buy a world-class centre-forward and hope that it improves. And someone said, Haaland would have even scored in our game like for Man United. I was like, mate, Haaland creates goals out of half chances. And we had plenty of half chances tonight, and I guarantee you he would have put one of them away. Well, on most nights anyway. Look, let's have a quick look at some of the other stats while we've got them up. So total passes, 541 to 406. Again, this was mainly due to the last 10 minutes where FC20 just packed up shop. The passes completed were 465 to 326. So we actually gave the ball away like 80-odd times today. It's not overly flash. We won slightly less tackles, but again, that's probably because they had less of the ball. And then obviously aerial duels. The corners were 10 to 5 or 10 to 6 as well. So we had a lot of corners, and we got very close to scoring, especially off a couple of the last couple. When Maguire put one back in across the goal and it almost turned into an own goal. But unfortunately, it's just not good enough. And this is what happens when you're only 1-0 up, and 1-0 is like a dangerous scoreline. 2-0 is also a dangerous scoreline, especially when you're this Manchester United team. But when you're 1-0 up and you're not putting the game to bed and you're getting these opportunities, it's inevitable that you're going to concede a chance. And I'll tell you what, I can't remember the bloke who went forward. I think it was maybe Regger or someone like that, or Hilgers or someone. And he just went, Bruns, sorry, it was Bruns, I'm pretty sure. And he just went for a run. He went for a run, he brushed off Rashford. Then I think he went through, I'm going to say like Bruno and Ugarte. And then Harry Maguire comes in. Oh, mate. It was like a slow-moving truck. That's the best way of describing it. Why the hell he's going to ground there after this bloke's already gone past 3 United players is beyond my understanding, and why De Ligt should just be starting. If he's fit and he can handle 3 games a week, bloody play him at Ten Hag, because I don't think he's sliding in making that stupid challenge. That challenge from Harry Maguire, not only did it get him out of position, and then sort of it led up to Eriksen's mistake, because then it wasn't Ugarte that got bruised past, because he was actually the one that won the ball. So Ugarte has come in after Harry Maguire's just come in like a slow truck, completely missed the ball. And then Ugarte's come in, mopped it up with a fantastic tackle. The ball's broken to Eriksen, who's obviously had zero communication that there's a player on his inside. He then turns blindly inside, gives up the ball to the FC20 player, who then proceeds to go in on goal and then beats Onana at his near post. We've seen Onana being beaten at the near post before. It's just a sloppy goal to concede. And this is what happens. When you don't take your chances, all of a sudden it only takes one and boom, you're in trouble. And we draw the game. FC20, actually, after they scored that goal, they were the ones that looked most likely to actually score again until they decided to shut up shop. And then it really looked like a case of, can Manchester United find a winner? And we're going to get lucky. I mean, the own goal almost came in clutch for us twice during this game. But again, I want to talk about the second half performance. Now, the first half, really good, dominant, and then the second half, they come out and for what a better word, we were sloppy. The intensity wasn't the same. Is it the fact that the players can't maintain it for the full 90 minutes? Or is it a combination of that and then Erik Ten Hag's subs are just ruining the complete flow of the team, and his tactics are purely reliant on the 11 individuals that start the game, and then as soon as he starts tinkering with it, the whole sort of system or whatever starts falling down? I'm not actually sure what it is. Because I watched against Palace, and Palace after halftime, I would argue, were almost the better team in the second half. And FC20, if they hadn't shut up shop, I reckon they could have won it, because they were by far, after they scored the goal, they were definitely the dominant team on the park. Until they, as I said, made all those changes right at the end and were happy to go with the draw. I don't know what the answer is the honest answer. All I know is it's bloody frustrating to watch as a United fan. And like, these are the teams that you just like go, we've got to be beating them. Like, these guys are from the Dutch league. Like, Palace on the weekend haven't won a game. Like, these are the games where you're just gifting points away, essentially. Gifting points away. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just disheartening more than anything else. So, what were the positives? So, Mason Mount returned from injury, which was good. He came on. He didn't really do much. In fact, this is why, again, it comes down to Erik Ten Hag subs not making an impact. Now, the first one he did was he brought on, he took Ahmad off for Garnacho. Now, you can see why it's either Rashford or Garnacho starting, because I think they're both better on the left. I think that's almost guaranteed. And I actually think that for the balance of the team, Ahmad actually has to be on the right. I don't know why people are like clamoring, he's got to start on the right. Ahmad is by far a really good player. He's a different kind of player, and he keeps the ball much better, and he also defends better than those two as well, I dare say. His pressing is also very elite as well, and the way he works out there. So when that came on, and I was like, all of a sudden it looked a little bit off to begin with. Then the next couple of subs really, really changed things. So Højlund, Mount, and who else came on? Højlund, Mount, and Mainu came on. Sorry, I don't know why I was having such a blank there. They came on for Rashford, Eriksen, and Xerxes, and then the momentum of the game really, really changed. So, bless Højlund, he just doesn't look match like sharpness at the moment, and he offered next to not much. And because of the fact that he took Rashford off and Xerxes, it meant Bruno Fernandes went out to the right-hand side, like played on the right wing. Garnacho came over to the left, and then we had Højlund up top. And it just looks so disjointed from that moment on. Bruno Fernandes, I don't know, man. We've got to have a talk about him probably. I've seen his name pop up so many times in the media this week. Especially, he hasn't had a good season for United. Other than the fact that he got a couple of assists against Barnsley, he's been actually quite poor. He was poor again tonight. He didn't really do much. He's having a shot in the 94th minute from like way out as well. I don't know. He just doesn't look like the Bruno that we've come to know. And he gives the ball away. Like, he gave the ball away against Crystal Palace 34 times. I didn't actually realise that. And I was like, why is everyone having to go at him? Like, I just didn't realise that every time he did get the ball, he does try that 1 in 1,000 pass. No one else in the team actually plays the 1 in 1,000 pass, but he plays it. But then he also gives it away quite often just with sloppy touches or just being a bit slow or things like this. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, the subs just didn't do anything for the team. I think if you change the formation around that drastically, you're never going to get a good flow or continuity. And when you're not winning the game comfortably, it doesn't make any sense to destroy the way you set the team up to play to begin with. And Ten Hag seems to be a manager that if he doesn't get it right from the get-go and the players aren't where you want them to be, and he's very much a player-specific type of manager. It certainly appears to be the case at the moment anyway, because as soon as certain players come off, the system seems to just, I don't know, crumble. I don't know what the best word to put it is. But it definitely changes. So, look, he's got to try and get that back. In his first season, he used to make almost perfect subs every game. And since then, it's just, I don't know. This year in particular, it definitely feels like his subs are actually making the team worse. Now, there is some other news to go around. So, in the Carabao Cup draw, we have been drawn at home again. Can you believe that? We get all these home ties. The people that don't want to be going because they've got the season ticket and they have to go. We've been drawn at home to Leicester City, so, in theory, that should be a win, but you never know with this United team. You never know. It can be interesting. It can be interesting. Let's put it that way. So, how do I expect us to line up on the weekend? Now, looking at the squad that we had today, you would expect that for the Tottenham Hotspur clash at home, and I'm previewing this now, and it is only directly straight after the game, but I'm busy until Sunday when I'll be watching the game, so I'm doing it now and hoping that, Man United can get a win. Ten Hag needs a win. They can't afford to be losing on Sunday, especially after two very disappointing draws in a row. So, look, I'm looking at starting lineup now. I'm like going, Ugarte played well. He played 90 minutes. But you expect Mainu to come back into the team. And if Mainu comes back into the team, you expect Bruno Fernandes to keep his spot as well, which makes it likely that Ugarte gets dropped again and Eriksen probably keeps his spot, judging from the fact that Eriksen's now started 4 of the last 4 games. But if Eriksen can't start a 5th game in what would be 2 weeks, then you'd expect Ugarte to probably keep his spot. I'm not sure. I can't imagine too many other changes there. You expect the definitely, as I said, to come in for Maguire in the back line, and there should be no other changes there. And then up top, It's like one of the ones where I'm thinking he's probably going to start Garnacho over Ahmad on the right-hand side, and then it'll be Rashford on the left. Probably Xerxes again up top, and then Bruno Fernandes in behind. But I don't know, man. I think he needs to be keeping Ahmad in the team. I think that's the best way of doing it. Now, look, there's been lots of news, as I said, about the regeneration project as well, and what Old Trafford will look like. There's been some really cool images online about what the regeneration project will look like, with like a massive 100,000 seater stadium there. Again, it's your chance to get in there and get involved and have your say on what you think's going to come. But yeah, look, again, just reflecting on tonight's game, it's just, frankly, it's like the same thing, different day, different week, different game. It's hard to watch. Getting up and watching that and losing sleep, knowing that, I'm watching the same old thing and the same old failings. I actually feel for Ten Hag. I don't actually know how he fixes the glaring problem of us not scoring enough goals. The patterns of play, the chances being created are all good. You just can't score goals. It's as simple as that, really. And then you're always hard up against it. So look, I feel for the man, but he needs to try and... I don't know how they fix that, like with training ground wise and that. I was listening to like Rio Ferdinand before on his Rio at United, and he was talking to Ruud van Nistelrooy, and Ruud van Nistelrooy is like, sometimes you have those moments after games where the confidence is gone and it's good to have someone to talk to and whatever. I was like, I hope Ruud van Nistelrooy is working some magic after these last couple of games, because I tell you what, the finishing's been poor, and you can tell without them actually being losses, you can tell the confidence is already dropping, just based on the fact that we've now had 2 games in a row where we just haven't delivered. So look, hopefully it's not a third one on the weekend. We need to up the tempo for Tottenham at home. They will come attacking, and this is the good thing about the way Tottenham play. They will go at United, which means they'll leave gaps in between. Tottenham have been conceding goals in every game they've played this season, so there are goals to be had there. It just depends on how clinical Manchester United are on the day, because if they're not clinical, then they're not going to score the goals, and that's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. If we can score goals, we will win. If we can't score goals, we'll get what we've been given the last 2 games, at Palace away and FC Twente at home, and that's a draw. So hopefully the boys can turn it on, but we'll be here. I'll be watching Sunday night. It's an 11:30 p.m. kickoff. Thankfully, I haven't got work yet next week, so I'll be able to have a little bit of a sleep in on Monday morning, because the game will finish about 1:30 on Monday morning over here in Perth. All right, well, thanks for watching. That's enough from me. Hopefully it hasn't dampened your mood too much. Manchester United, as I said, start the European season at home with a disappointing 1-1 draw with FC Twente. All right, thanks for watching. That's Manchester United, the D in its view. Over and out.